The rise and fall of Allison Mack. Often, more often than most would like to admit, we find ourselves in low points in our lives. The loss of a loved one, the end of a relationship, a career failure, a personal tragedy or defeat, or even just symptoms of general unhappiness and depression can take over and make the worst of us. In these dark places, some turn to the aid of religion, of self-improvement, to their hobbies and passions, to their careers and commitments. They are reminded that they are surrounded by people who love and care for them, even if they can't always be around. That they might be alone today, but find care and friendship tomorrow. That to every dusk must follow a dawn. From these places, every day, people rise to the challenge and meet the occasion and strut courageously forward into life, ready for what the world may throw at them. But, regrettably, this won't always be the case. This won't always be enough. And this won't be today's story. Some might be able to push forwards but remain injured, hollow. And deep within them, that sadness stays and waits and grows until they fall again. These vulnerable souls can grow desperate, be broken, be sad, and worst of all, be exploited. Perfect victims for the perfect type of coercive criminal that amasses the fortunes and hard-earned rewards of others, what little they have, and gobbles it up to leave them with nothing, not even themselves. These poor souls are the most vulnerable to cult behavior and logic. They could be around you, seemingly teeming with joy or crushed with defeat, or just a blank, uninterested stare. You could have passed one of them on your way home. They could have been your coworker or classmate or internet buddy. They could have even been on television, with a big grin and happy open eyes. This is today's story. A young actress turned TV star turned victim, then conspirator for an egotistical maniac and his multi-leveled, multi-layered cult of abuse and evil. This is the rise and fall of Allison Mack, a story of how even our superheroines can be broken, corrupted, and turned against innocent people. But before we start, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to Moolah TV so you never miss any of our videos. Yeah! From child actress to TV superheroine, Mack was actually born in Peetz, West Germany to Americans Jonathan Mack, an opera singer, and Mindy Mack, a school teacher and bookkeeper, on July 29, 1982. Her parents were in Germany at the time of her birth because Jonathan was performing there. They lived in Germany for 2 years before moving to California. While her origin and early life was nothing short of special, Mack seemed to just be your perfectly average and happy little girl, with a common and content enough childhood. Even since her early years, Allison seemed determined and destined to the world of the staged arts. As early as 7 years old, she started studying at the Young Actors Space in Los Angeles, and got her first job for a German chocolate company in a series of print ads and commercials and a short modeling stint. Her first breakthrough into proper TV work would come in the popular show Seventh Heaven, where she gained attention playing a teenager who cut herself. In 2000, she also co-starred in the short-lived series Opposite Sex, and Disney TV movies such as Camp Nowhere and Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves. But it wouldn't be until October 1st of 2001 when she would land the role of her lifetime that would embark her in a very successful TV career for someone as young as her, barely 18 years old. One might say it would also put her in the radar of the dark forces that would meddle and shape her life afterward. We're talking, of course, of her role as Chloe Sullivan in the quintessential mid-2000s superhero show, Smallville. There, she played one of Clark Kent's, later Superman's, best friends, technological and informational support, and later even a superpowered individual herself, with the power to understand emotions and heal wounds, ironically enough. Mack earned several awards and nominations for her portrayal of Chloe, including the Teen Choice Award for Best Sidekick in 2006 and 2007. She appeared as a series regular for 9 seasons, and returned as an intermittent main cast member in the 10th season, including the 2-part series finale. From 2003 to 2006, Mack's character appeared in her own miniseries Smallville Chloe Chronicles and Smallville Vengeance Chronicles. In 2008, she even made her directorial debut in Smallville Season 8 episode Power. In 2002, she made a couple of appearances in R.L. Stine's miniseries The Nightmare Room. In 2006, Mack appeared in the animated movie The Ant Bully. That same year, she voiced Clea, a museum curator, in an episode of The Batman. Adding to her Superman resume, she lent her voice for Power Girl in the animated feature Superman Batman, Public Enemies, 2009. Since May 2009, Mack has been a part of a project with the Iris Theater Company. In March of 2012, Mack was cast in a recurring role in the 2nd season of the FX sitcom Wilfred. She played Amanda, the love interest of Elijah Wood's lead character Ryan. Mack returned to Wilfred for 1 episode of the 4th and final season. It's reported that at the height of her career, she had a net worth of well over $7 million. All in all, Allison Mack seemed to have a perfect career and enviable life. But beneath the surface, and across all those years, something dark and horrifying had been brewing. relationships with an MLM turned cult turned sex trafficking ring, NXIVM. NXIVM, the cults and the cultists. Based in Clifton Park, New York, a suburb of Albany, NXIVM purported itself to be a multi-level marketing company that offered personal and professional development seminars through its executive success programs of large group awareness training. In reality, the company was a front and a recruiting platform for the secret society called DOS, in which women were branded and forced into sexual slavery toward its founder and grand master, Keith Raniere, and his main accomplice, Allison Mack. But just how exactly did a young TV starlet let her life get tangled up in that dark mess? Well, let's go back to the beginning. In 1998, Raniere and his then-wife founded NXIVM, a personal development company offering executive success programs, ESP, and a range of techniques for self-improvement. Raniere claimed that its main emphasis is to have people experience more joy in their lives. This was, of course, false, and was nothing more than a high-end, highly expensive MLM targeted to affluent people of loose purpose and even looser wallets. It was traditional in NXIVM, even from the early years, for members to give as collateral sensitive information about themselves, which often, conveniently, included banking information. Even so, by 2003, 3,700 people had taken part in ESP classes. Reported participants included businesswomen and men, former surgeon generals, Enron executives, a daughter of a former Mexican president, entrepreneurs, actors and actresses, and even royal heirs. Simultaneously, cult allegations started to surface around this time. In 2003, NXIVM sued the Ross Institute in the case known as the NXIVM Corp. v. Ross Institute, alleging copyright infringement for publishing excerpts of content from its manual in 3 critical articles commissioned by cult investigator Rick Allen Ross and posted on his website. Ross posted a psychiatrist's assessment of NXIVM's secret manual on his website that called the regimen expensive brainwashing. Ross obtained the manual from former member Stephanie Franco, a co-defendant in the trial, who had signed a non-disclosure agreement not to divulge information from the manual to others. NXIVM filed suits in New York and New Jersey, but both were dismissed. On appeal, the United States Courts of Appeals for the Second Circuit affirmed the dismissal, ruling that the defendant's critical analysis of material obtained in bad faith, i.e. violation of a non-disclosure agreement, was fair use since the secondary use was transformative as criticism and was not a potential replacement for the original on the market. In October 2003, Forbes then published a critical article on NXIVM and Raniere. The cultists were especially upset by remarks made by Bronfman, who told Forbes that he believed NXIVM was a cult and that he was troubled by his daughter's emotional and financial investment in it. In 2006, Forbes published an article about the Bronfman sisters, stating that they had taken out a line of credit to loan NXIVM $2 million, repayable through personal training sessions and phone consultations. After actress Kristen Crook became involved with NXIVM in 2006, Salzman and her daughter Lauren, a junior NXIVM leader, went to Vancouver to recruit Crook's Smallville co-star, Allison Mack. Lauren bonded with Mack. The 2 women eventually became Raniere's inner circle and his sexual partners. Mack became an enthusiastic proselytizer for NXIVM, persuading her parents, boyfriends, friends, anyone who would listen to take courses, and after wrapping production of Smallville in 2011, moved to Clifton Park, New York to be near NXIVM's home base in Albany. It's safe to say she went from being the face of a superheroine to becoming the face of a sex trafficking cult. DOS, the sex trafficking from victim to perpetrator. By 2017, several former members had asked New York State authorities to investigate NXIVM. The complaints focused on a secretive subgroup within the organization called the VOW, or DOS, an acronym for a Latin phrase that roughly translates to Lord or Master of the Obedient Female Companions. The members were physically branded with tattoos that they were told represented symbols of nature and power, but in reality they were the initials of the cult's leaders. More than some were assigned to have sex with Raniere. The Sisterhood, which was billed as an empowerment group, comprised circles, each led by a master who recruited slaves. In time, the subordinates also recruited their own slaves, an MLM of sex trafficking. And the most proficient of these master recruiters was none other than Allison Mack herself. The women were required to hand over collateral, embarrassing and incriminating information, including nude photographs, that would be publicly released if they disclosed the existence of DOS. Their diets were controlled rigidly to less than 500 calories a day, and they were forced to do constant menial free labor for the masters of DOS. During this process, Mack herself went broke after giving away all her assets to the cult and spending whatever little she had left trying to convert her acquaintances. This went on for literal years, until finally, the cult could hide no more. Conclusion. Arrests. Mack was arrested in Brooklyn by the FBI on 2018 on charges of sex trafficking conspiracy, and forced labor conspiracy. According to prosecutors, after she recruited women to join the organization, she used tactics such as blackmail to force them into engaging in sexual activity with Rainier against their wishes and enslaved them, for which Rainier allegedly paid Mack. Mack was exposed to being second in command of NXIVM after Rainier, and it seemed most of these strategies she helped to perfect. On October 27, 2020, Rainier was sentenced to 120 years in prison. From there, it is said he continues to order and command his fellow cultists. Mack, in the meantime, faced a minimum of 15 years to life in prison. Days before the sentencing, Mack released a statement saying that her involvement was the biggest mistake and regret of her life, and expressed remorse in regard to those affected. In addition to the letter, her attorneys asked for no jail time in consideration for Mack's remorse and her cooperation with Rainier's prosecution. On June 30th, 2021, Mack was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison and must complete 1,000 hours of community service and was ordered to pay a fine of $20,000. Mack reported to the Federal Correctional Institution, Dublin, in Dublin, California, on September 13th, 2021, to begin serving her 3-year sentence. But, well, what do you guys all think? Do you believe her allegations? Are you worried she might be faking her regret? Let us know what you think in the comments down below, and as always, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our videos.